This is NDTV, and you're watching Classics.
Hello and welcome to the Unstoppable Indians. Every week we take a journey into the life of an outstanding Indian, a person whose talent, acumen or moral example is transforming India. The best, the finest from every field join me, Manvi Dhillon, on this show to share their life story, their journey to success, some of the knocks along the way, what made them get up and keep going, what makes them an unstoppable Indian.
Thousands of families who have already been affected by the construction till now are not rehabilitated.
My guest today is Medha Patkar. Medha ji, thank you very much for joining me on the Unstoppable Indians. Today I've had a sense of how long your days are. Where do you find the stamina to work 20, 22 hours a day?
You know, Anvi, there is so much injustice around that you see that the whole system is crushing many communities and the people are being either looted or attacked, killed or just destitutionalized. So you can't keep quiet. And so when they are spending sleepless nights, you can't also keep on resting. It's also the inspiration that comes from the people who really suffer the most, not the activists, and who really strive even for the basic minimum survival. So I think what we're doing is just a dot on the canvas, but even this much of input of your own, cognition, energy, your own spirit and commitment, even emotional commitment and ideological commitment is a must.
I want to rewind, go back to the beginning and try and get a sense from you as to when that awakening came in you, that this was going to be your life.
I must say it was never just one glamorous moment, and I'm thankful for that, because otherwise it would have become really a glamorous career, as it is seen in the case of some youngsters who come to try the moment as an adventure. But for me, it was a long experience of a process that I went through, which my whole family was going through, with the father who was a trade unionist coming out of the freedom movement with the utmost commitment to the cause that he had taken up. And also the mother who was working and serving the family, earning for the family, and still was so socially conscientious. I think that whole atmosphere really was very, very charging and inspiring. We were in a small really room, and with the laborers coming in and the meetings taking place, and me with the book or notebook in my hand, but then watching all the processes of how the meetings were conducted and how the father used to get angry with the laborers at some time, but was very clear about what is to be achieved, and rejecting the sweets or any gifts coming from any of the personnel manager who would try and kind of indirectly bribe, as he would see it, so on and so forth.
So you grew into that life because it was all around you.
And also at a later stage, of course, as I started moving into the Rashtra Seva Dal, one socialist youth organization's shibirs, the workshops, and the every summer and vacation was spent into the rural areas or the urban slum communities. Every Sunday was going there. I think I learned a lot from these, because it really clarified the ideological basis and the framework. At the same time, it helped me value the people who are really toiling to really serve us, to feed us, to clothe us, and to build real India. So I think that thing came and got imbibed and inculcated, which really helps me a lot to really keep the target clear. I think this happens to many others maybe, but I'm really feeling grateful for all those contributions by various organizations and individuals.
Narmada Bachao Andolan is indeed synonymous with Medha Patkar.
For the media it may be, but that's because media needs a face, as they have told us many a times. For every movement, it's Sharad Joshi for the farmers organization or Ticket or so on and so forth. But indeed, today when I'm here, so many things are happening in the valley of Narmada, in each of the state. There is a huge rally taking place under the Andolan's banner in the other dam area, and we just had 2 rallies, and people are slogging to fill up the forest rights forms and caste certificates in lakhs and so on. All my colleagues who form a group of committed youths really strive much more than I do, and the Adivasis themselves, from whom the activists are coming in large number, not just the urban committed activists, all of them really are Narmada Bachao Andolan. So many women, thousands, men, children in our Jeevan Shalas, not less than 15 in number in the hills and mountain ranges.
And they're all an integral part of the movement. But as you said,
That is a
you
movement.
end up being the face of the movement.
I have to put up that face, never weak and never arrogant and so on. I try that to represent what their real face is.
Do you feel a sense of despair sometimes? Or do you feel a sense of achievement when you think of the Narmada Bachao Andolan? Is it more a sense of we haven't been able to do enough? Or is it a sense of at least we've got this far?
It is the latter one, I suppose. And that's because although we know that we have contributed a little to this whole issue of big dams or displacement or rehabilitation on one hand, and the alternative or the real ways of land and water and forest and mineral and fish management. And yet I think by raising the issue with the people's strength, the mass actions and the social movement, with so many supporters coming in and getting changed in their way of looking at land and water management on one hand and displacement and rehabilitation on the other, I think we could at least reach out to the World Commission on Dams, which was the first experience in the global policy making, and that report is available to anyone to really be able to use it as a tool for reviewing the water and power policy, which is so used in many countries. And in the Narmada Valley itself, whatever happened, thousands of families getting land for land in at least one dam, Sardar Sarovar, would not have happened if there was no challenge from the people's side through a movement. And it really made a difference so far as the people who were supposed to only sacrifice could monitor every decision which went in the form of development planning. And so questioning development, questioning the costs and benefits, questioning the environmental management, and when we all kept doing it with our supporters, some support also always comes from within the system. There are some sensitive and conscientious individuals, and we have to take support of law and judiciary, but also go beyond that to human justice, beyond legal justice. All of that, I think, has exposed Sardar Sarovar thoroughly, where it is seen that the costs are 10 times the original estimates and benefits are 10% of the originally planned estimates, and so dam remains stopped today, and so 2 lakh people are in the submergence area, and it's only to save the deprivation and cheating betrayal with the people in the Kutch-like dot affected areas that this dam must be stopped and also the valley be saved, and their rights should be protected through alternatives.
And I'm sure in this whole process there is a sense of empowerment for the local communities as well.
Yes, I think that is the cause and the effect both.
As one looks beyond the Narmada Bachao Andolan, one can see the same issue, but your involvement in that issue in different parts of the country. It is about displacement, and that issue is brought up every time a special economic zone project is up for review, or indeed in Shingur with the Tata Nano project. Tata Group has left Shingur and relocated their plant. In a sense, it's been a victory for you.
For the people of Singapore.
For the people. Do you feel at all a sense of doubt as to whether the interests of all those local people were preserved, or do you feel a sense that maybe a part of them, a group of them, could have wanted a different future?
I have no doubt that it is in the interest of Singur to save the land of Singur. There may be a handful of families, the party cadres, which matter in West Bengal, or even the absentee landlords who first decided to accept cash. But a majority of the people who are really dependent on that land for their livelihoods, they were very clear, and we are also very clear, seeing the experience of the people displaced by industrialization, by urbanization, by big dams and so on, including the 125 families displaced for the Tata project near Pune in Maharashtra. Not one of them are absorbed in the company's jobs. Not one of them could be rehabilitated with the company and the government making joint efforts, and they had to agitate for years and still they did not get it. So it's very clear that when 1/6 of an acre in Singur, which produces such huge potatoes or such big cauliflowers, can really help them survive, why should they not retain that land with them, with their own freedom to decide what development is? When their consent was not sought, decide to agitate and oppose such kind of land grabbing, and also go in for some industrialization with the cold storage, with the rice mills, and even beyond that, which could have been planned, which can be planned even now. I think the people have a very clear opinion of this, and although Tata might have won the media battle, after losing the battle on the ground, I think all the sensitive and sensible people in India who realize that nano car is not the priority over the people's life and livelihood and democratic right to plan their own development, really uphold the people of Singur's struggles and all those who supported them, including the political parties, to the literatures, activists, lawyers, and everyone who is not just radical but also rational within the West Bengal country and the world.
But tell me, have there, at a personal level, been any learnings from Singur?
Yes, there have been so many lessons to be learned. First and the foremost, how is the politics changing and in what direction? The state is really getting corporatized every day and every moment, more and more. And that's why so many chief ministers asking Tata to come in and welcoming without even applying a mind or even putting forth a precondition for themselves that they would go back to people wherever the land would have been offered to seek their consent. No, they were acting like inamdars and the jamindars who would just dole out land to the corporates, and that is their face which has come out in the open. And Tata of course chose Modi because they did not want any democratic procedure or a democratic state where they might have had the same problem. It's also telling us how the right to left, the various political parties are compromising on their ideological goals, vision, and also processes to really submit to corporates and woo them for the electoral gains.
But they can risk losing the elections. They can risk losing the mandate of the people if they disconnect from the people's issues to the corporate issues.
It's not disconnecting, it's taking sides, which they have to do, because ultimately when there is no level playing field between the two, because of the wrong, distorted or discriminatory valuation of things like the human labor or the natural resource on one hand and the money market machine on the other, it's obvious that anyone who wants to really bring in equity and justice will have to take a position, and that's what they are not doing. If only they do it, I think even in the electoral politics, they may really gain a larger support. Not just people would come out and vote, but they would also get more votes of the toiling masses. Today they are manipulating masses and mass votes, no doubt. That's why they don't feel that this is necessary. There is no fear of losing the the mass support in their minds, because they feel that winning election can happen without mass support, without taking up mass issues of priority. And that's the saddest story of the Indian so-called democratic politics.